This tutorial shows how easy it is to convert your existing E1000 EXTER application to iX Developer. E1000 and EXTER were introduced in 2005 and achieved great popularity during their years on the market, thanks to ease of use, solid functionality, and reliable operation. Now, key components have become difficult to source, and the technical risk of maintaining the E1000 and EXTER product platform has become too large. The replacement of the E1000 and EXTER is the X2 HMI series. The X2 series is the next generation of HMIs from Bayer Electronics. 5 product families combine great design with strong performance to power your HMI solutions. iX empowers you with modern tools to communicate. The software combines top-class graphics and smarter functions that provide intuitive operation on the spot, not to mention the almost limitless connectivity to your other equipment through the extensive list of communication drivers. We will now convert an E1000 project to iX Developer. During the conversion, we will introduce tools that will simplify and speed up the conversion process. We will start by having a quick look at the original application in eDesigner. It's a slightly modified version of the E1070 demo project. This application contains most of the features supported by eDesigner, for example, graphical blocks. It also includes a block where recipes are managed. It contains objects with many different types of addresses and data types that are all included in the recipe that we will import later on. The application has 2 alarm groups, critical and warnings, connected to summary signals that are set and reset when there are active or unacknowledged alarms. There are 2 alarms in the application. Both alarms contain dynamic alarm objects, such as analog numeric and digital text. Finally, there is a block that allows us to present the alarms in alarm banners, custom alarm indicators that are displayed based on the status of the alarm summary signals, and function keys allowing us to trigger simulation alarms. We will now convert the E1000 application to iX Developer. Start by selecting Import Project. Click on the Browse button and select the E1000 EXTER project that should be converted. Next step is to select which panel the application should be converted to. In this case, the original project was developed for E1070. The suggested migration panel is X2 Pro 10. Select Finish to proceed. A dialog will appear, allowing us to select how the conversion should be carried out. In general, it's recommended to enable all options. In this case, we have a recipe structure that we want to convert. It's found in the following path. The recipe files need to be organized in a special structure for the conversion to succeed. Recipe data is the main folder, and this folder is the one that we have selected in iX Developer. The main folder contains one or more folders with recipe structures to be imported. In this case, printer recipes. The printer recipes folder contains all of the recipes that should be converted to iX Developer. We click on the Import button to start the conversion. The conversion tool will detect if the E1000 EXTER project contains function keys and ask if a special key template screen should be included. When selecting No, the project will be converted to a touch application. If you select Yes, a key template screen will be applied to the converted application. The key template screen contains buttons that emulate function keys, picture objects that emulate LEDs, text objects that present the content of the text strips, and button objects that allow the operator to navigate in the application and acknowledge alarms. Select Yes and the conversion will proceed. Next step is to select which drivers should be used in the converted iX application. The original application used the MELSEC MC protocol driver. This must also be selected for the iX Developer application. While the application is being converted, we can have a quick look at our website. It contains a lot of useful information regarding project conversions. Click on Products and select EOL Guide, EXTER and E1000. Select EXTER E1000 Migration Table to find a complete overview of recommended replacement panels and adapter plates. You can also find an overview of cables, a tutorial video, and most importantly, a conversion guide. You access the conversion guide by clicking on the Here link. The conversion guide is continuously updated. Always make sure to use the latest version, in this case revision A. The conversion is now finalized. Click on Open Log to review the generated warning messages. The converted application has 8 errors, 31 warnings, and 23 information messages. The warnings in the beginning and end of the log file are mainly about E1000 EXTER functions that have not been converted. It's therefore necessary to investigate if the feature was used in the E1000 EXTER project, and if so, implement it in iXDeveloper. In this demo, we will focus on errors. The first couple of errors are related to users with no password. The first blocks were converted without errors and warnings. However, when converting the analog objects block, the numeric table object was discarded. The printer block contains a couple of function keys with recipe-related actions. We will need to manually select which recipe should be used. Let's have a look at the conversion document. It is divided into 3 parts. First, how to prepare the original project before the conversion. Secondly, the steps needed to convert the project to iXDeveloper. And finally, what to consider, review and correct after the conversion has been carried out. If we click on a function such as password and security, the relevant chapter will be opened, and you will find information about typical things to consider and implement. Since we had a couple of errors regarding blank passwords, we will need to review those users and delete them or provide passwords. By searching in the document, we can find information about how to handle the most common issues. Let's search for a couple of errors and warnings that were mentioned in the log file. The error message indicates that the analog numeric table object has been discarded during the conversion. This can be mitigated by creating a series of analog numeric objects instead. Finally, we search for the recipe-related error. The manual informs us that we will need to select the recipe manually for these actions. Back in iXDeveloper, click on OK to open the converted application. We will now review parts of the application and correct a few of the warnings that were identified in the log file. We will start by adding the missing numeric table object to the analog objects screen. Right-click on an existing analog numeric and select Copy. Right-click again and select Paste. Resize the object and make sure that it's connected to the correct tag. Right-click and select Create Series. Type in the number of columns and rows that should be auto-generated. In this case, 3 and 4. Click on OK. The printer screen has been converted and looks OK. The only thing that needs attention is the function keys. We will handle this later. Let's have a look at the alarm configuration. The alarm groups have been converted along with all of the color settings. The alarm items are also converted and connected to dynamic alarm items. Relevant actions have been added to implement support for various E1000 functionality. The alarm summary signals have been implemented as scripts and automatically injected into the application. These scripts are found in the Alarm Server's Script tab. In multi-language, we see that all of the texts and their translations have been converted to iXDeveloper. When reviewing the security, we see that users and user groups have been converted. Since there are a couple of users with empty passwords, we will simply delete these from the application. When opening the tag editor, we see that tags have been created and assigned with controller addresses, data types, offset, and gain, etc. We will now configure the controller. Open the Controllers tab and click on Settings. In the Stations tab, it's possible to define the IP address that the driver should connect to. In this example, 192.168.1.10. The port is changed to 1280. If you are unsure about settings or addressing, then the driver's help file can be accessed by clicking on the Help button. Each communication driver has a unique help file. It contains information such as release notes, settings, addressing, and troubleshooting. Click on OK to accept the new driver settings. Let's have a quick look at the imported recipe as well. Recipe items have been added and connected to the correct tags. Under the Runtime Data tab, we will see all of the imported recipes and their values. The last thing we will need to do before building the application is to correct the recipe actions that were mentioned in the log file. Therefore, we select Function Keys and choose the printer screen. The Save, Load, and Delete recipe actions will now be connected to the imported recipe. Simply click on the ... button and choose the desired recipe, in this case, Printer Recipes. These steps are repeated for the Save and Delete actions as well. These are a few examples of necessary actions after a conversion. You will need to review the log file and correct all of the necessary warnings and errors. It's always recommended to download the application to the target and verify the functionality as well as the graphical appearance before making any further adjustments of object size or placement in iX Developer. After completing the conversion, all functionality must be fully tested in the target, in the same way as when developing an application from scratch. This means reviewing and testing all screens, buttons, I/O, etc., to make sure that the conversion has not changed the behavior of the application and that it fulfills all requirements. You might need further editing and refinement of the application before it fully matches your requirements. In this demo, we will just simulate the application in order to have a quick look at the converted functionality. You simply build and simulate the application by clicking on the green Run button. The emulated function keys allow us to trigger actions in the application, for example, to change the language. If we navigate to the recipe screen, we will see that all of the converted recipes are available, and that the correct values are written to the tags when loading a recipe. We can use the navigation keys to jump to the previous screen. Let's navigate to the alarm screen and then trigger a couple of simulation alarms. We notice that the alarm texts include dynamic tag values, just as in the original project. The alarms are presented in alarm viewers, and the summary signals control the visibility and blink of the custom alarm indicators. The alarm screen provides an overview of the historical alarms and allows the operator to, for example, acknowledge alarms or show an information screen with more details about the alarm. To sum up, with the help of iX Developer's built-in conversion tool, it's easy to quickly convert your existing E1000 and EXTER projects to iX Developer. Even though the conversion is not one-to-one, you will save many hours of engineering compared to building a complete HMI application from scratch. And remember, iX Developer includes many new and modern features compared to E1000 and EXTER, so take the opportunity to review what iX Developer is capable of and take your HMI application to the next level.